There's this story right here. I don't even know what you say about this. Pete Rose removed, amongst others, Shoeless Joe Jackson on that list, removed from the banned list, if you will, by Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred this afternoon. Rob Manfred saying now that lifelong punishments do not follow people into, once they're dead, into the afterlife, whatever that looks like. So Pete Rose, who you and I both know is in hell, hell's not real, but the point is, Rob Manfred saying lifetime bans end when somebody dies. Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame?
No. Nope. And I have a major problem with this, dude. Like, okay, so now we just erase everything you did in your life because you passed away?
Well, what this is going to be.
Like,
this is going to be where we start talking about what Pete Rose, he was troubled, but look how good he was on the field, and what a guy at the end of his life. He totally I don't care. He broke the only rule you cannot break. You want to be in the Hall of Fame? Don't bet on baseball. Pete Rose knew that rule, broke it anyways, and then denied it for decades. And then finally, when he thought he was going to die soon, mea culpa, admitted it. They still didn't put him in. He still died. And now, this is why I'm troubled by both sides of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, let's talk about from the worst commissioner in all of sports, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball. So he admits it. Then he dies. And now you want to make Pete Rose eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Why?
Why not do it before he dies?
So what you're telling me is you had made this decision, Rob Manfred, many years ago, and you were just waiting for Buddy to pass away. That's what this is. That you're saying, hey, these bans and these punishments, when you pass away, we're, now that you're gone, we would never want to reward you personally, but the memory of you, yeah, you can have your flowers, bro. The memory of you can be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I just hate the message it sends. You're sitting here seemingly changing everything about baseball, changing the game, adding all this stuff that was totally unnecessary. And now we have to have an integrity conversation. Now I got to ask Rob Manfred, okay, well, why is it that you would want to reward or put a guy on a pedestal who, I agree, broke the only rule you can't break? You want to take steroids and lie about it? Okay, cool. You can break that rule, and we can have a conversation.
Because y'all eventually admit it.
Right, right.
Y'all come around.
Right, like, we all can have a conversation about, like, hey, well, everyone in that era was taking steroids. It wasn't really taboo when we were doing it, and now we can have the thing. But with Pete Rose, it's different because this is on a different level, dude. This is a different level. So don't try to sit here and tell me that, oh, well, now that he's passed away, like, it really bothers me that that's the angle we're working here. Instead of just owning it, instead of Rob Manfred being accountable and just saying, yeah, you know what, I believe he should be in the Hall of Fame. I just, whether he's alive or dead doesn't really matter. It's been long enough. Like, let's put the guy in.
I texted a baseball writer I know, a guy that has a Hall of Fame vote. What's the first thing he said to me? And I've known this guy for years and years and years. First thing he said, when I said, hey, do you think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame? Would you vote for him? Only if Barry Bonds is eligible. And I said, Barry isn't banned. Yeah, he is, with a laughing emoji.
Yeah, he is.
Because he's banned. Like, you cannot he might not be on the ban list. He's banned.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds is never going to. So let me get this straight. Pete Rose broke the only rule you can't break. He's likely, I think, he's likely to get it.
Oh, yeah,
right?
That's the only reason you did this. You took him 100%. Off the list. You took him off the list with the intent of putting him in. 100%.
Have to. Are you telling me that Barry Bonds is not going to get in, but Pete Rose is? Are you telling me that Mark McGwire, who I think did more for Major League Baseball than Bonds and Rose combined, with his Sosa McGwire, home run chase in 2001? You're telling me, or 98, excuse me. You're telling me Mark McGwire won't get in, but Pete Rose will get in. Come on.
It's a travesty, dude.
This is the wrong time. This is not some humanitarian. He's dead. Why don't you just put no? If you weren't going to put him in when he was alive, what are you, a masochist, and you wanted him to suffer all the way to the day he died? Well, that's what happened. And now you're telling me, well, okay, Pete's suffering has come to an end. Let's put him in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
What do you mean, dude?
Why put him in? Somebody give me a reason to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Shoeless Joe Jackson. Why are you going to put him in? Homeboy's been dead for how long? Why are we putting him in? What just today changed with the worst commissioner in all of sports? Nothing changed. He's looking for a win. That's my honest opinion. Rob Manfred is looking for a win that he can put on his legacy and on a resume. And and then Rob Manfred allowed Pete Rose to get into the Hall of Fame. No, sorry, bro. It doesn't work that way. You're the worst commissioner in the history of Major League Baseball, bar none. And this is a Hail Mary,
yes,
towards your legacy. And I think it stinks to high heaven. You cannot put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
I just think it's the biggest issue isn't even Pete Rose himself. The biggest issue is your reason for doing this, right? Like the concept of, hey, well, now that he's gone, we can do this. Like, that just sends a terrible message. That sends the message that, hey, do whatever the hell you want when you're alive as a major leaguer and, gamble or take steroids or whatever it might be. And then once you pass away, we'll take that off and, you're good. You're good.
And
like, what?
And again, I want people to understand the guys who use steroids are not banned. They're shadow banned. Yeah. They're not getting in because, we can't.
Yeah, I agree. That's a term, shadow ban.
We can't put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame with Joe DiMaggio. That would screw you. Okay, like you Mr. Arrogant, I'm really important baseball writer, move along with your death, right? Like, to me, that's where baseball has its biggest problem. Baseball's integrity dies with the white hairs who have the Hall of Fame votes.
100%.
But here's the truth about Pete Rose. He broke the only rule you cannot break. He bet on baseball, including the Cincinnati Reds, who he managed. I would also remind you, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Sosa, Roger Clemens with that needle of B12 in his ass, all those guys, that was the renaissance of Major League Baseball. That was, without a doubt, I remember where I was when Mark McGwire hit the home run. And I don't have to tell you what home run he hit. When he hit the home run.
Right.
I was in my girlfriend at the time, Mrs. Monty's Jeep Wrangler on the 210 freeway in Tahunga, California. La Cañada. That's where I was.
Lidocaine and B12.
It saved Major League Baseball. It brought people back from the strike. It made people care. We turned on the TV every night. It made Major League Baseball money. It brought people to the gate. It brought people back to the jersey. It brought people back to buying hats. It saved baseball, period.
Why would you want to put those guys in? I mean, it's not like they saved baseball or anything.
I am over. If you're one of the guys, and I haven't even gotten into the comments section yet, but if you're one of the guys who wants to run out Pete Rose and Charlie Hustle and the stats, and look at, I love everybody. It's like, well, he's a hit king. Look at all the hits. Cool. He bet on baseball.
Like, it just stops right there, dude. Like, this is not hard to understand.
Did he know about the rule? No. Well, then what's that sign in every major league clubhouse that's still there today and has been for generations?
This is the Jim Harbaugh thing, right? Whether you knew or you didn't know, you're still guilty. Like, if you didn't know, you're an idiot. You have a responsibility to know. Like, it's part of the profession to know. Like, we all have things that we, inherently know. Like, doing a show, there are some words you inherently don't say no matter what you're talking about. Like, you just know that's a rule.
Yeah.
Right? Like, every major leaguer knows. And I would go a step further and say every professional athlete, including college athletes, know damn well you shouldn't be gambling on sports. You know that. But yet this dude went out and did what he did. And now everyone wants to sit here and defend him because what? Bob, your neighbor down the street, gambles and everyone else in the public gambles? I got news for you. There's a difference, bro. I don't have the ability to affect a Major League Baseball game or the outcome.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I can sleep well at night knowing I suck at Prize Picks with Major League Baseball and knowing my gambling isn't going to affect the outcome, dude. Like why is it that I can't remember which umpire it was. Earlier, might have been last year. I'd have to look it up. But that umpire, one of the best umpires in Major League Baseball, got removed from the sport for gambling. Nobody batted an eye at that. But God forbid the hits leader in Major League Baseball is kept out of the Hall of Fame for breaking the only rule you can't break. Now we got a problem. That's my issue, dude.
I'm not willing to do it. I'm not willing to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
Like, does it not make you feel dirty if you're someone defending this decision, or if you're Rob Manfred, choking on your pneumonia cough? Do you not feel dirty? Doing this? Like, that's what I really struggle with this guy. And I think the commissioner conversation is a real one now, because I have been dying on the hill the last 6 months with Adam Silver saying that dude needs to be replaced. But he's not doing stuff like this. He's just not good at growing the NBA in terms of the basketballing and like making the All-Star experience better and those type of things. That's not really his forte. Business-wise, they're doing fine. But like the cool kid stuff, he's not real good at. With Rob Manfred, now I got to be like, dude, bro, you're sitting here shadow banning Mark McGwire, and now Pete Rose is in. What are we doing?
This is the same guy who said, well, I'm going to retire. This guy releases a statement, makes an announcement. I'd like to announce I'm going to retire after the 2029 season. What? Why are you telling us now? That just makes us hate you more.
But do you see what I mean? Like, that's a great example.
What are you doing?
Like, this guy, I think it's a perfect comparison. So let me get this right. Pete Rose dies, and then sometime later, you decide to take him off the list so that he can get into the Hall of Fame.
Not the day he died.
Like, gosh.
If it had been the day he died, okay. On principle, he's dead now. All's forgiven.
You've had your cup of coffee on this, dude. You've been thinking about it and like stewing on it. And what? Did you get on the phone? Because there are some people, and I don't know if it's factual, but there are some people claiming that, he had conversations with the president and with other people. And, he's only doing this because the general sentiment is that Pete Rose should be in. And I'm just saying, as a commissioner, I understand the stated goal is to grow the game, right? As a commissioner of whatever sport, Commissioner Roger Goodell, your job is to have 18,000 international games a year, 10 years from now. That's your job, bro. But this is bad business right here, dude. Once again, and this is the bow I'll put around it. Once again, I'm not sitting here talking about Paul Skeens volunteering for Team USA. No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Pete Rose and you doing something that makes you look stupid.
Some of the darkest names in baseball history. Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson. It's remarkable. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. The Pope, Big Pontiff. That's right. The Pope has been a member of the Monty Show for 28 months.
Yeah.
Long before
easy, bruh.
He was ever the Big Pontiff, because pontiffing ain't easy.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Brandon Butler, good to see you. Eric Wasikowski, Donnie brokered peace in India and Israel. He can fix sports. Okay. Right on, bud. TJ Beck, hot take. Does the new owner of the Blazers move them to a bigger market in Seattle, whomever the new owner is? Yeah, the Portland Trail Blazers will be put up for sale by the estate of Paul Allen.
Yeah, maybe then they can get the number 1 overall pick,
Yeah, I agree. Johnny Gonzalez. So you knew this was kind of I'm kind of disappointed you didn't bring up Ipe. By Pete Rose not having an Ipe to blame, his gambling on disqualifies him from the Hall. Ipe, of course, Big Sexy's
fall
interpreter,
guy.
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah,
his fall
I
guy.
love that too. Like, see, thank you, Johnny, dude. Thank you, bro. This is precisely my point. Let me get this right. So you just got over one of the biggest gambling scandals in Major League Baseball since
scandal?
Pete.
Ippei stole money.
What? The star? Bro,
Shohei.
our biggest star in the game, an LA Dodger, is involved in one of the biggest gambling situations we've had in the game. Yeah, I better put that under the rug. He's the fall guy. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
Head your ass out to Alcatraz, dude.
The big pontiff, steroid era and MLB profited off of. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Hell, if not for roids, baseball might have died. Rose admitted to what they never proved about Joe. Even the rumors of gambling got you banned. I don't disagree with that. Pollyanna, Polly, good to see you. Both of them are out. Jesse Crum, hello, Jesse. MLB's all-time home run leader is banned from the Hall of Fame. That's wild. I'm telling you now that if you're going to put Pete Rose in, Barry Bonds, it better be right there with him. Mark McGwire, it better be right there with him. I don't think Sammy Sosa is a Hall of Famer on merit. Forget the cork bat and the steroids.
Right.
Is Roger Clemens? Probably.
Yes, Roger Clemens is.
Right? Like,
yes.
I just feel like, yeah. Stadium guy James Rose hit. Here we go. 4,256 hits. His on-field play is Hall of Fame level. Personally, he's a knothead. He gambled on baseball. That's not being a.
But
no.
See, here's the deal, dude. Here's the problem. And again, I'm not trying to hate on you, dude, but this is why I disagree. We're not having a conversation about on the field. This is not an on the field baseball X's and O's conversation.
This is not a statistical analysis.
And so what we don't get to do, and again, this is why I have such a problem with this. This is why I hate the fact, I literally despise the fact we have to talk about this thing.
Yes.
It's a complete and utter waste of my time and this show's time to have to talk about this again. But the problem is with comments like this, James, is nobody disagrees with the numbers. The numbers are the numbers, right?
Jimbo.
But what we don't get to do is cross these two sort of paths, right? These two parallel conversations. And this is what you say about sports, right? It's okay to hate the athlete, right? The football player, right? The guy on the field. It's okay to hate that character. It's okay to hate Draymond. But you don't want to hate Draymond as a dude. We separate on the floor and off the floor. And so with Pete Rose, it's a very simple proposition. Stop talking to me about numbers and stuff because it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm shocked that there are so many people willing to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm really surprised by that. All right, let's welcome our newest partner to the show, Rula.com/Monty. You guys, I've talked about it a lot on this show, mental health. And I think as men, we're proud. We don't want to talk about mental health. We don't want to talk about struggling with mental health. We don't want to talk about how much it costs to get help. If you are struggling with mental health, you don't have to deal with any of that anymore. Go to Rula.com/Monty. Talk to a qualified provider for $15. In most cases, if you have insurance, it's $15 to have somebody help you. And they're not just in general. You can go in, and the thing that I love about Rula's system is that you can go on Rula.com and they have practitioners and professionals ready to help you in every modality with every case that you're struggling with. You put in your details and you have a professional that's ready to be there for you when you need it. And it's not an arm and a leg. Mental health care, I've told you this. We've talked about this a lot on the show. I'm passionate about bringing mental health out of the shadows and the darkness and making it something that is no different. Hey, I don't feel good. I have a cough. Let me go to the doctor. Hey, you know what? I'm struggling with the thoughts that I have in my head. I'm having trouble getting out of bed. I'm frustrated with what's going on in my career or at work. It's $15. Cost is not an issue. Rula.com/Monty, please. If you need help, if you are struggling, go and get it. And it's not just for men. I mean, you guys, I cannot highlight enough that when we talk about Rula, we talk about the fact that you have so many opportunities to take a stand in your life every day and do something about the things you struggle with. And one of the reasons I'm so excited this week we get to partner with Rula is because When you go to roulette.com/Monty, you are taking a stand. You are making a statement. You are building a relationship with yourself, saying, I want the best for myself. I want to feel the best. I want to be able to provide for my family emotionally, financially, physically. Be the best version of yourself. Roulette.com/Monty. It's $15. In most cases, when you have health insurance, it's $15. You can afford $15. That's lunch, right? That's going out to Chipotle. That's $15 won't buy you Chipotle. But
Or Five Guys, but who's counting?
You know what I mean? Like you can afford that $15. It is an investment in your prosperity. It is an investment in the best part of you for the rest of your life, please. And I know you're probably tired of hearing me talk about how we need open, honest exchanges about mental health. Roulette.com/Monty. Make sure you tell me you heard about it on the Monty Show. Go get the help you need. It's affordable. It's $15. Get it right now at roulette.com/Monty. All right, let's get some more of your comments in here about Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. If you want to react to Jason Tatum, the news today, it is a huge, huge story. The news today about Jason Tatum. He had surgery to repair his Achilles tendon. It is a right Achilles tendon tear. Jason Tatum done for the rest of the playoffs and a good part of 25-26. Listen, do you think the Celtics have a chance to win this series? I do not. I think the Knicks are playing at a very high level. You're looking at a guy, to your credit, you talked about Jalen Brunson having to have that game last night. Well, boy, did he.
Yeah.
50, I think it was 59 points, rebounds, and assists combined last night. Huge effort out of him. Can the Celtics still win the series? It's doubtful. They're down 3-1 now to the Knicks. And I think one of the bigger stories today is this Pete Rose thing, where Pete Rose is now apparently, and I say apparently because if you're Major League Baseball, why would you want to make it abundantly clear? But apparently Pete Rose is eligible for the Hall of Fame right now, as Commissioner Rob Manfred has removed him from the ban list, amongst others, including Shoeless Joe. Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Should it happen? Big Daddy Magic, I love your life advice. I truly appreciate it. Big Daddy Magic, appreciate you too, man. Get to roulette.com, you guys. Roulette.com/Monty.
Link's in the description, man.
Link is in the description. Go click on it. It is, I'm telling you guys.
And one other cool thing is they can turn that around. They can get you in typically within 24 hours, which I think is really valuable, because I know most of the time it takes, sometimes it could take like 3-4 days to have the conversation, which obviously isn't ideal. So I think that's also super valuable.
You can get next day video sessions with a therapist for $15. And the other thing about roulette.com is they're going to verify your out-of-pocket cost before you ever have service, so that you know exactly what your cost is. And in most cases, it's $15, you guys. Go get it done. Find an in-network therapist. I just appreciate roulette.com partnering with the Monty Show this week. I am thrilled that they are here. So go get that done. Big Daddy Magic, appreciate you. Illumindursky, why would you put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame?
No
idea.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Oh, why wouldn't you? Because he broke the only rule that you cannot break.
Yeah.
He broke the only rule you can't break. It has nothing to do with his on-field performance. There is nothing in the policy in Major League Baseball that says, hey, as long as you're the best hitter of all time, you can gamble on baseball in the Cincinnati Reds. You cannot gamble. And you certainly can't gamble on baseball, and you absolutely can't gamble on the Cincinnati Reds.
How are you going to go about
your own team?
How are you going to go about disciplining players in the future who choose to break this rule when you're going to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame? Like, you're a hypocrite, dude.
I think it is. I think it's pretty ridiculous. That's just me. Major letdown. Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe are a non-story to me. Dude, I'm a diehard baseball fan now. I think it's a huge story. Seems like everyone who ever swung a bat gets in the Hall of Fame these days just doesn't mean anything anymore. I disagree.
Yeah, that's just not true.
Yeah, I don't know that it's true or not true. I mean, if you feel like it doesn't mean anything, hey, I live with that. That's cool. I think you can't do it. You can't put him in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. I just don't think you can. I feel like it is. Integrity of the game feels highfalutin.
But it is.
ivory tower. But at what point do you stand up and say, yeah, there's a line? There's a line. I can justify steroids, Barry Bonds, A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez should be in the Hall of Fame. I understand that. But is it hundreds and thousands of players who have gambled on baseball? No. No, it's not. It just isn't. I'm stuck on it.
Yeah, I think the question of what does it take, like if I'm a Major League Baseball player, what would I have to do to never be considered for the Hall of Fame, assuming I have the numbers and everything on the field? What would I have to do off the field to be banned for the rest of existence?
Yeah. Big Pontiff, Silver is making Manfred look like a freaking Goodell. Rob Manfred has made so many mistakes. The Arizona situation on its own. I could go on and on. I could go on and on. Stadium Guy James, why are we going to hold a grudge against Pete Rose? He has more hits than anyone in baseball. That's irrelevant. Nobody is arguing he is one of the greatest offensive players ever. Nobody. Let's honor his career. Right, but you can't talk about Pete Rose's career without talking about him betting on baseball in the Cincinnati Reds.
So wait, am I
How do you do
understanding
that?
this correctly? And in the comments section, let me know if this is a popular opinion. Are you guys suggesting, because this comment is suggesting, specifically this comment, is suggesting that the Hall of Fame only applies to what you did on the field? Because that's kind of what you're saying here, is that, hey, like, who gives a damn if he bet on the game? Even though that's, materially affects what happens on the field, I might point out. But who gives a damn that he bet on the game? He's the all-time hits leader in Major League Baseball, and was a great player. He's a Hall of Famer. So I don't care about it. Like, is that really where we are?
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I'm not there. I agree with you. I'm not there at all. I think that this is Rob Manfred. Taking him off this list, you're as guilty as him, dude. You're perpetuating the idea that hey, you can gamble on the game and still be a Hall of Famer. That doesn't work, dude.
Can't do it. I think when we look at them, and again, I understand the system's flawed, but this is old men voting on the Hall of Fame. They don't vote for people because they just don't like the way you looked at them. Barry Lamar's not in the Hall of Fame because of the TV near his locker and the fact he was rude to people. I'm not even sure that it's the steroids. Pete Rose, it's well known. Why do we have rules in society? If Ollie Gordon, all he has to do, Oak State James, is run stairs, why do we have DUI laws? Why don't those DUI laws say, hey, just go run some stairs, everything will be fine? Well, because people die regularly. We have rules in place for a reason. At what point, and I understand that we're supposedly this land of rules and laws. Well, we never enforce them anymore. So what's the point of having a rule of law if we're not going to enforce them?
Don't get it.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, dude.
Mike Smith, I think more people think he should be in the Hall of Fame versus those who think he should not. At least that is what it seems like. Yeah. I'm sure there's a large swath of society who just doesn't care. Put him in.
And by the way, if you're that person, I would rather someone, like, I would rather you guys, if you're pro Buddy in the Hall of Fame, like, I would rather you just say, yeah, I don't care that he gambled. He's the all-time hits leader. He's a great player. Put him in. That's my take. Okay, at least I can respect you for saying you don't care. Like, at least that's a conversation that I can have. But you're like the argument of, well, because he's a great player, that means that what he did off the field doesn't matter. I just think that's child's play, dude.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous take.
David Persons, the question I have is, did Pete Rose gambling affect the outcome of his play? If it did, then he needs to be banned forever. But if it didn't, then he should be in. He was the manager of the Reds.
Like
that we know, he went while he was managing from the dugout, he was making bets. There's no question. It had impacts on the outcome of the game. And most of the times he bet on I think I could be wrong. I don't think there ever was an instance where they had evidence he bet against them. He always bet for the Reds to win. So, I don't know. Giggity. The guy over here really asking who the Black Sox are? Are you really asking who the Black Sox are? Maybe this is the problem with baseball.
Yeah.
I think people have lost touch with Major League Baseball. It's no longer America's pastime. It's not. Again, I'm a Cubs season ticket holder. I love baseball. I love everything about baseball. I love watching the game. I hope Rob Manfred trips and falls because I don't want pitch clocks anymore. I don't want limited throws over to first base, even though it really helps the Cubs because they routinely steal bases, right? I'm much more the guy who says, get me 6 innings, 3 earned or less, and you're a hero. I want what happens on the field to matter. But if you're a degenerate off the field, I think that should matter. When did
being a good human stop mattering?
Dude.
Damn.
You're not even kidding. It's wild. I already read that one. Sorry about that. I should be careful. Oh, Lopes fan Gabe.
This should be good.
Isn't that exactly what everyone who wants him in is saying? Yeah, we don't care. He gambled. If you need your pound of flesh, strip his managing career numbers since he gambled while a manager. I mean, I guess.
But this is the Michigan thing. Going back and ripping the championship doesn't fix anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're okay, cool. Take away his managerial accomplishments, and that makes us feel bad. Like, no, dude, there's a reason that it's a lifetime ban, bro. Like, we shouldn't be, let me put it this way. We should not be sitting here spending 45 minutes talking about the great gambler, Pete Rose. What we should be talking about is something else in sports. But instead, we're sitting here talking about this dude because we wanted to be nice, because we wanted to throw dude in. We should be talking. In fact, we shouldn't be talking about this at all. What it should be is, hey, dude passed away. We're never talking about him again. That's what it should be.
I just don't think that he's not.
It should be a cautionary
Is it a lifetime ban or is it not? Is it life in prison with a chance for parole? No, it was life without parole. He was banned. Mike Smith. People are saying that they think he should be in, and it's clear they think that that is over gambling issue. Not sure what else some can say. There's nothing to talk about with Pete Rose related to how he swung a bat or what he did as a player.
Right.
He is one of the best players of all time. It can't stop there, though. When you say Pete Rose, oh, that was a guy that was banned for life for gambling. And I agree. What do we say to Jonte Porter in the NBA?
Oh, that's right. You don't care about Jonte Porter because he wasn't a Hall of Fame potential candidate.
Yeah, he was a scrub. Right? Like,
what if tomorrow it came out that, your favorite athlete who was Hall of Fame caliber bet on all these games and that's what determined his career? Like, come on, dude. This is ridiculous.
Yep. The Buffalo Hunter, that's the problem. No one knows that the gambling affected the outcome on the field. Therefore, the integrity of the games were compromised, can't be in the Hall of Fame. I think you automatically know it impacted the outcome of games because he was doing everything to make sure he won, I would assume, the bets and the game. But what decisions would have been made differently if he hadn't gambled on that game? If he didn't have ducats on that game?
Yeah, isn't that the exact premise? Like, the premise is, hey, dude, you can't gamble on the sport you're involved in because that ruins the integrity of the game. And whether you did or you didn't, you still gambled. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah. Brandon Butler. The only issue I have is there are some shady things that happened off the field in the NFL and are in truth. But each hall is different. NFL is only on the field stuff. MLB seems to count everything. They do. Wasikowskinator. I'm not a native Chicago person, so I only know the year of the scandal. Pete Rose is a different situation. That's like asking people outside of Detroit who the Russian Five are. The Russian Five. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm too on one side of it. Listen, I'm here for the conversation, but nobody has a legitimate reason as why he should be in the Hall of Fame.
What changed? Like
nothing changed. Sergeant Morhew, hello. Nobody is forcing the show to be talking about this topic as long as it has been talked about. You're in charge of the show. Well, but we're just having a conversation. That's all. Pete Rose should rot in baseball hell for eternity. Ooh. Okie Light, is betting on your team worse than cheating, i.e. steroids? Not saying to put him in, just saying that the steroid era shouldn't get in either. I think that's a fascinating conversation.
That's a very fair question.
I think, though, and I know I said this in the comment section have said it, baseball doesn't survive without Mark McGwire and his androstenedione. But it's also important to note, was he cowering in back alleys and behind dumpsters buying androstenedione? No. Do you guys know where he kept his stuff, Mark McGwire? How about on the shelf in his locker at Busch Stadium? In plain sight. To me, Mark McGwire saved the game of baseball, which made Barry Bonds jealous, which is why Barry went on to do what he was doing. Now, having said that, was there anybody better at hitting a baseball than Barry Bonds? Not in my lifetime.
No.
I saw Barry Bonds do some things that I've never seen anybody else do. And I think Barry should be in. I think truly Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame because the Baseball Writers of America think he's an asshole. I don't even think they care about the steroid use. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you saw Barry, that guy, and I kid you not, you could throw Barry Bonds a ball the size of a BB, and he'd barrel that thing up. Barry Bonds is truly the single greatest offensive player I have ever seen.
Yeah, special talent.
Ever. And before he became a 1,000-pound fat-headed monster, the guy was also a pretty special center fielder as well. The guy could frickin' play. So, and I agree. We need a decision on steroid era guys. Because if guys like A-Rod, Clemens, you have to assume everybody was doing it.
Yes.
Right? Andy Pettit.
Yes.
Is Andy Pettit a Hall of Famer? I think he probably is. Did Mariano Rivera use? I don't know. But I have to assume on some level because everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
Sammy Sosa simply didn't put up enough good numbers to get in. Mark McGwire? Yeah. I should be able to say your name. Barry Bonds? Yes. Scott Verizor? No. Right? Like, I should be able to say a name. Bagwell, Biggio, in. Without a question. You're in. Greg Maddux, Hall of Famer. Kurt Schilling, what a dick, but a Hall of Famer. Pete Rose? No, he gambled on baseball. Period.
I think it's that easy.
I think it's that easy.
It's that difficult, dude.
I agree. All right, Delaric, a member of the show for 26 months.
You didn't cheat, you didn't make bets on the comment section, so we'll play the sound,
Yeah.
Okay. Sal Capone, a member of the show for 7 months.
Stay hard.
Good to see you, boys. Barry was a Hall of Famer before the roids. He was in Pittsburgh.
But
Barry was also
both ways.
Barry was also an a-hole before. The problem with Barry Bonds is he's just not a nice guy. That's the problem with Barry Bonds. He treated people so poorly. There's no way to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
That's the problem. He is clearly one of the best players of his generation. Ken Griffey Jr. or Barry Bonds? Toss-up. Barry, because he played longer and stayed healthier. But Kenny, the running, the hitting, the throwing, that's
Super
how
likable.
good Barry is. Yeah. Personality. That's
Ball
how
and the
good.
grip.
That's how good Barry Bonds was.
Yeah.
I think he was better than Ken Griffey Jr., and I saw them both, and I think Barry was better. Barry, you feared Barry Bonds.
100%, dude.
You did not fear.
You guys remember the home run chase, right? Like, dudes were walking him when you still had to throw the pitches.
Go look at the numbers. He was walked repeatedly with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
Do you understand that cat was intentional? I believe there was a year where he was intentionally walked more than he struck out. Let that sink in. Like Barry Bonds, and I'm not advocating for Barry because I do think Mike.
2004, he was intentionally walked 120 times.
It's wild.
Which was more than twice the number of his strikeouts that season.
Bro, let that sink in.
Buddy, okay. Also, just for perspective here, dude probably had, I can pull up the stat, 400 at-bats that year, 500 at-bats probably. 41 strikeouts, that's it? Are you serious? That's it? Like, come on, man.
I mean, it's incredible. Anyway, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. Let me read some more of your comments because in 8 minutes here on the Monty Show presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com, we got to get to this Donald Trump saving sports.
And it's very powerful.
I think there's a fascinating conversation to be had around that. Delaric for $5. Were the steroids they used illegal or against the rules at the time? If not, they should be in. Performance-enhancing drugs.
PEDs.
And the issue was they were against the law in this country in a lot of cases. And you start to understand. You go back to the Tony La Russa Oakland days with Canseco and McGuire and the Bash brothers, and you start like we've had Dave Stewart on our shows many times talking about the locker room environment on those teams. And you start to hear about, hey, this trainer and that trainer, and what did Conti give to Bonds and Greg Anderson and Bonds, and Greg Anderson's in jail because he doesn't want to talk about Bonds. And
yeah,
you start to understand it wasn't necessarily the rules of baseball. They were allegedly, some of these players were committing federal offenses by taking, do you guys understand that some of these guys were taking horse tranquilizers? And they were like, the stuff that they were taking.
Do you even live?
Look at, go research Ken Caminiti. And then ask me if it's against the rules of baseball. Right? Like you go research Lenny Dykstra. And then ask me if it's against the rules of baseball. Like you look at Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden. They weren't using steroids. They were using cocaine. That's against the law in this country.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I don't see cocaine anywhere in the baseball
Monty,
rule
did
book.
it affect the outcome of the game or not? And if not, then he's in the Hall of Fame. It's that simple.
Hey, Monty.
And he will every single time.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, and to me, it's a very personal thing. I'm a huge baseball fan. It is, if you watch the video we did when we played golf at Wrigley Field, it's on the channel. Go see it with PXG. I told a story about Kodak Photo Day. That's one of the single greatest memories I have of Chicago Cub first baseman Leon Durham putting his arm around me.
Yeah.
Like, baseball is intimate to me. Baseball is life-changing to me. The idea that a guy like Pete Rose would be in the Hall of Fame, it should turn your stomach. It just is.
Yeah.
Man. Steve Stepanek, should they take Lawrence Taylor out of the Hall of Fame for his cocaine use? I don't think they should. I'm not saying to keep Darryl Strawberry or Dwight Gooden out because of theirs. Pete Rose broke the only rule that's on the wall of every clubhouse, no gambling. That's why
Facts.
I'm not sitting here indicting guys. Listen, if you were trying to beat Barry Bonds and you weren't using something, weren't you at a competitive disadvantage?
Yes.
Have you guys ever seen, back in my early days in sports media, again, another Mrs. Monty story, we would take rented camera equipment from our local cable station and go down to the Big A in Anaheim and do interviews. And do you understand how far Jose Canseco used to hit baseballs? Do you understand watching Mark McGwire leaning on the dugout railing? One of my favorite things to do is at Dodger Stadium in particular, it's a thing. Go lean on the dugout railing and watch the guys take batting practice. Watching Mark McGwire put baseballs into the parking lot at Dodger Stadium over the left field pavilion will change your perspective. You watch a guy like Albert Pujols, steroids be damned. Did he, didn't he? I don't know. You go watch a guy like Albert Pujols put balls like it's a flip of the wrist into Big Mac land at the new Busch Stadium.
Yeah, over the train tracks in Houston and Brad Lidge,
You look at a guy like Bryce Harper. It is hard to describe how difficult it is to do what they do. It's not hard to describe how simple the rule is. Don't bet on baseball.
Yeah.
Don't gamble, period. Because again, to wrap this up, I'll put it this way. Nobody ever has done or will ever do what Barry Bonds did. And I don't mean hit the ball over the wall. There will never be another performer. Shohei, I've never seen it since, and I doubt in my life. And
intimidation, dude.
I probably have 50 years left on this earth. You'll never see anybody put a baseball on the center of that barrel the way that Barry Lamar Bonds did. The ability, do you guys understand that Barry Bonds, if he took a pitch, it was a ball? It wasn't a matter, was it a ball or a strike? Barry didn't swing, that's a ball. And umpires gave him the call. If it was on the black, it was off the black because Barry didn't swing, so it must have been a ball. Go ask guys like Greg Maddux about pitching inside to Barry Bonds. Go ask the very best pitchers ever. Go on YouTube and just put in Barry Bonds stories. And you go listen to the pitchers who would be like, bro, I don't know how he did that. And I don't care if it was 100 miles an hour or 90 miles an hour or 80 miles an hour. The ball hit the middle of Barry Bonds' bat. Nobody has ever done it since, and I don't think I'll ever see it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever see it. I don't. Cougar Tracks. Ask Lance Armstrong about using drugs. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Yeah, I kind of did. Okay. Give me back the trophies.
Right.
Legitimately. And it cost him a nut. Probably. But I don't know. It's just one of those things where
It is a personal premise conversation.
it is. It is. And Mike Smith, and I understand that baseball is not commonplace. I understand that we in baseball are not, those of us that are emotionally invested in Major League Baseball will always have a different fight.
Yeah.
We will always have a different fight.
Yeah.
All right. Hour number 2 of the Monty Show, presented by our friends at Rula.com/Monty. Again, if you're just tuning in, our newest partner for this week right now, Rula.com/Monty. New partnership. We need you to go and check them out, you guys. Please do it. Go to Rula.com/Monty. Get your mental health in check. If you're somebody, and I know a lot of people on this show who've struggled with mental health, because I DM with a lot of people on this show. If you've struggled with mental health, but you thought, man, I can't afford it. Yes, you can. In most cases, for people who have insurance, It's $15. And they're going to tell you ahead of time how much it'll cost you out of pocket. And in most cases, again, it's $15. And what I love about it is that you're going to get served. You are going to be connected with a professional who is going to help you in the way you need to be helped very quickly on a video link. Most times within 24 to 48 hours, you will have a therapy session on video. Don't even have to leave your house, and it's only $15. Knock it down. Rula.com/Monty.